Hi, this is Amy with the Hag Reads. It's been a couple of weeks since I posted, and I've been sick, so I went to the doctor a couple of times, and I just didn't have the energy, and I did not feel well enough to get up and sit. I felt so bad, in fact, that I did not knit. I really didn't read over that period. I couldn't even watch a movie or YouTube videos. Like, I was so uncomfortable and in just enough pain to really not be able to do anything. So I'm feeling much better now. Still not entirely sure what happened, but I either managed to catch some kind of bug or there's just a larger health issue going on that maybe cycles up and down, which we haven't been able to identify. But I can't afford any more copays right now, and I'm feeling okay, so I'm going to let it be and see what happens. But during that time, when I couldn't get on here to post for BookTube, at the tail of the end of it, when I finally started feeling better, I started watching some new to me knitting podcasts or not podcasts, but YouTube videos. The one that I've been watching, they keep calling it a podcast, and I don't know if that's really what it is when it's a video on YouTube, but now it's stuck in my head. I keep calling it a podcast. And I also started watching some Mixpedia videos again, and then I picked up some pagan content, which I haven't watched hardly any of. I didn't even know that there was pagan content on YouTube. This is completely new to me in terms of that. I've known YouTube has been around for a long time, and there's all kinds of content on there. It just never occurred to me to go look for witches or pagans or heathens of any type. So at the tail end of it, when I could stand to sit or lay in a comfortable enough position and not be in quite so much pain, I had started watching some of these videos, and it kind of, for me, combined with my experience through the BookTubeathon, changed, I think, the way that I want to present information or to share things or to engage with people on YouTube. And that is that I think I really, really enjoyed the daily vlog format that came with, that I did during the BookTubeathon. I found that much less stressful than a 3 times a week update. And the Work in Progress Wednesday was never a very successful video because a lot of what I wanted to focus on had nothing to do with BookTube. So this channel will now be a kind of a daily vlog, and it will still include books, but I will say this: if you're looking for book hauls, if you're looking for in-depth reviews, if you're looking for the content that I have been posting, you're probably not going to see as much of it. I will be talking in probably equal portions and not in any specific fashion, just kind of whatever strikes my fancy or what I'm focused on for the day. In equal portions, I will probably be talking about books. I do read about a book a day, sometimes more, sometimes less, but I average about a book a day right now, and that's my goal this year. I changed it from 200 a couple months, maybe a month and a half ago, when I was like within 8 books of the 200 goal. I thought I would push myself, and I'll try and read 365 books this year. And that kind of is not a sustainable, realistic goal year after year for me. But for this year, and it's an attainable goal based on some of the children's book series I'm reading, some of the reading I'm doing now along with my son. He's picked up an interest in supernatural kind of haunted asylum, seance stories, stuff like that, things that are kind of spooky. He went from reading no books to now he has read 30 books this year, and we're only in the middle of August. It's August the 16th today. Um, so he went from reading almost nothing to 30 books. And one of the things that has been fun about that is that he said, "Oh, you should read this too. I think you would like it." And that's not always the case. Our taste is reasonably different enough. I kind of like what he likes to read. It's not my main focus right now, but the joy in reading what he's reading is we have had some really good discussions, so that has been fun for me. But my format now will be daily vlog, and I will be talking about books, knitting, uh, mixed media. I do a lot of ATCs, which are little mini trading card type for swaps and stuff like that, although I have not participated in a swap in some time. iCAD, which is an index card a day. I have a Rolodex project that I'm stalled on. So I really want to focus some more on the art that I have not been doing. And then also on pagan things, book acquisitions, things I'm studying, things that I'd like to discuss with other people. There's a local community here, but it's mostly very young people from the college, from ASU, and from a couple of the community college. There's a couple of the meetups I've gone to. I really kind of felt out of place for the age I am. And I like mixed groups, but I don't like it when I'm the old person and it's 10 or 12 or 15, 18 to 24-year-olds. I just feel like I don't feel welcome in that kind of skewed. If it's thoroughly a mixed, you've got some people in their late teens, say 18, 19, 20. You've got people in their mid 20s, and then you've got some, if there's a genuine range, I really enjoy that. I think you get a really good discussion. You get young enthusiasm, you get experience, or you get older, new people. I think the discussion and the interest is just more varied, and conversation is more sustainable that way, because I don't necessarily want to focus on the kind of things that young people do. It's much more energetic than what I am necessarily interested in, and it's just my preference. So I haven't found that locally, and I'm kind of tired of looking. So I thought I might find some people on here that I can have conversations with that way. And it just interests me, and I don't want to have to censor myself and feel like, I realize a lot of YouTube, BookTube is Christian, and that there are some people that are not, but most of what I see are people who have Christian faith, and they talk about it. So I thought at this point where I'm not popular at all on YouTube, I don't have many followers. I'm only sitting at 20 followers right now, and as near as I can tell, maybe 1 to 5 of those people are regularly watching videos as they come out. So I don't think I'm letting down a bunch of people or necessarily making anybody uncomfortable. So I'm just going to be upfront here. I'm going to talk about pagan things, about how paganism works in my life, and kind of what some of my beliefs are, and things that I'm doing seasonally for celebrations and stuff like that. And I have been pagan for many years, but when at the end of my marriage, and then when I was separated, and then when the divorce was happening, and for many years after that, I just kind of lost focus and lost interest and a lot of things in my life. I think I've talked about it before on here. I stopped reading for a couple of years. I didn't do any art. I did zero knitting. I'm just getting back into all of these things that really make me happy, and that I would like to be able to talk to or talk about, because it's what's going on in my life, and because a vlog to me says this is kind of like a journal, but it's a public thing. So you're hoping maybe other people will watch it. I don't particularly care if anybody watches this, but it would be cool if I met some other people who were in a similar position. I'm 46. I haven't made any secret of that on here. But I'm not advanced in any of the things I'm doing, because for many years, when my children were young, I couldn't knit the way I wanted to. When my children were young, I couldn't do art the way I wanted to. At least not for the amounts of time that I wanted to. And my ex was supportive of some things, but very unsupportive about others. So I put a lot of things on hold to raise children, and then things kind of fell apart after my divorce. And so I'm finally at a place in my life where I'm examining what actually makes me happy. I've had some health problems, and really what I want is to enjoy whatever is left of my life, whether it's 10 years or 40 years. I would just like to kind of have fun with it. And yeah, just I want to enjoy life. I want it to be an adventure and a journey, and just see where that goes. But I don't think that I just want to talk about books and be a booktuber. I think that the vlog format really appeals to me, and maybe my content won't appeal to anyone else, but I'm gonna take a shot at it. I don't think I'm losing anything, because I have such a small subscriber base at this point, and I don't think there's a very big interest in the content I'm currently putting out. So I don't feel like I'm taking anything away from BookTube, and the book content will still definitely be there. I will talk about books I'm reading. I just won't do a weekly wrap up. Instead, I'll just come on here, and if I've read a book that day, I will talk about a book that I finished. If I am reading a really long book, maybe I'll talk about my progress in it, and how I feel about it, and whether it's a fun read or a not so fun read. But I've been watching some of my videos. I watch these back and I don't always look happy on them, and I'm not an unhappy person, and I'm not like a negative Nelly, but I feel like in some of my videos I come across that way, and I would like to maybe change that perception. I am not as excitable or enthusiastic as some of the booktubers are. It's just not in my nature, but I do feel like I have a sense of humor that doesn't come out so much in these videos. And yes, I really do have a sense of humor, I promise. But I feel like I'm censoring myself a lot, because I feel like maybe people won't like me so much if I'm really put out there what I'm about and what I do with my life, and how things have been for me. But I want to also focus more on keeping the content positive on things I'm moving forward with, and not so backward facing, as I have seen some content. I guess some people like to get on here and bitch about their lives, and that's not really what I want to do. But I do want to talk about things I enjoy, and things I'm trying to accomplish, and new things I would like to. Right now, I feel like artistically, I'm never going to be a professional artist. I'm never going to say on here, I'm an artist. I'm a crafty kind of person. That's the kind of art I do. It's very art journaling, and I've started a thing called Book of Days, which I'll look up for next time. The maker who introduced that concept. It's like a book of shadows, but it's an emotional outlet. So it's kind of an art journal for spirituality. And mine would be pagan centered, but you can also do this for any of the major. You could do it for Christianity quite easily. But mine, I call it a Book of Days, and I got it from, I'm 98% certain that it was a pagan artist who was promoting this concept, and I believe she teaches a class, which I can't afford to take, but I would like to link her video down in the down bar on my next video, because I think it's a fabulous concept, spiritual art journaling, with the seasons and with your moods, and that you can focus and do journaling prompts to work through introspective issues or bumps in your life. Because life is nothing if it is not full of obstacles for you to overcome, and that's the way of personal growth. So I don't ever think of obstacles as Well, I do sometimes like, why me? But why not you? If you weren't being challenged, your life would be pretty boring. I will try to keep my content without foul language, but I do kind of have a foul mouth. And in my real life, I swear quite a lot. But I know that's not for everybody, and I will try to put a lid on it. I'm gonna reel this in now. We've reached almost 15 minutes, and I will start with videos tomorrow for the book content that I have, and you will probably see something almost daily. I'm hoping to keep them 15 to 20 minutes, which is what they have been, but more chatty. My goal when I originally started my BookTube channel was for it to be like if we sat down and you asked me about a book I had read recently. The way that I talk to the camera would be the way that I would talk to you in person. I think Big Haired Bookworm does it best. She makes hers very chatty, very friendly. You feel like you're over for a cup of tea with her. She has her little community bulletin board thing that she does, or newsletter, or whatever it is. Hers are very, I love her videos, the way she does them. But I watched her after I had thought, oh, I would really like this to be like if I just was sat down and I was talking to a friend or talking to somebody I met and they asked me about the book I was reading, that's the kind of thing it would be, that it wouldn't have been something prepared and succinct that I could trill at you 90 miles a minute in a semi-hysterical voice so that you could know how excited I am about the books I'm reading. I love to read, even if it doesn't come across in my videos. I am almost always reading at least one book. I almost always have at least one nonfiction book going, and I usually also have a digital book going. And occasionally I will have, in terms of format, I will have a physical fiction book, a physical nonfiction book, a digital book, either through Overdrive or through the Kindle app. I don't have my Kindle Fire anymore. I sold that when I was having bigger medical problems, and the Kindle app works fine. So when I get books through Amazon, I do use the Kindle app. So I'll have a digital book in some format, and then I only get audiobooks through Overdrive, and I can only listen to certain types of books on audio while I knit or while I do art. They have to be a light enough content that if I'm engaged in another activity, I can be paying attention to that, but also not drop stitches on my knitting or miss parts of the book because I'm painting something and it goes awry, or I'm very excited about it. It has to be that kind of light fiction. I do thrillers a lot like that aren't too in-depth. I have done some YA that way. I really prefer physical books, but I have taken to audiobooks because I don't have cable. There's not a TV in my house. Recently, because we want to move, in the next 18 months, we really want to move out of the Phoenix, Scottsdale area, either into northern Arizona, but our ultimate goal is to move to Oregon. It's the only area of the United States, except for the very up the bordering Canada states, which I really don't have any interest in living in. The Northwest, Washington State and Oregon State it's kind of the last place in the United States that I have not lived that I would really like to live in. And I don't know if it will be for the rest of my life, but it will be for at least 10 or 15 years if we go. I like northern Arizona. I worked in the Grand Canyon. I love the area up there. I love Flagstaff, Williams, Prescott. They're all wonderful places. I just don't know that we could support ourselves there. I have been trying, even with all my health issues, to start a home-based business for something that I used to do back when I was married, and it did supplement our income for several years before it kind of fell apart as our marriage fell apart. So I have some goals there that I would like to revisit and maybe in a slightly different format revamp. But all of these things will come in as part of what I talk about for my vlogs and what I'm doing with my life. And if that doesn't interest you, I really encourage you to go ahead and unsubscribe. I don't think that you're going to miss much in my content, because there just aren't that many people watching now anyway. So I figure, why not just do what I want to do and see what happens with it. Nothing may happen with it. Nobody may watch it, but it might make me feel better about my life and give me some visually accountable format to keep me motivated to do the things that I've laid out before myself. And I'll discuss these more as the days and weeks go by. But that's, so I just wanted to, for today, it's been 2 weeks-ish since I posted a video, maybe 3, I'm not entirely sure, but the end of the BookTube-a-thon, that was really the last time I posted a video. So I thought I would get on here and talk about the things I'm going to change and how the format's going to be. And then you should see a video every day-ish. I'm sure that I will miss days, but it shouldn't be 2-week gaps now. I like the idea of being able to just discuss books as I finish them while they're fresh in my mind. And that way I won't get things confused, and I won't have to think so hard about what was it I liked about this book, because I've read 5 books beyond that by the time I'm talking to you about it. I think it will have a more immediate, satisfactory discussion quality for me and for anyone who happens to watch this. But I'll also talk about my knitting. I'm going to try and learn a couple of crochet things. One of my goals for the rest of this year and into 2018 is to learn 2 new knitting patterns. I really only know how to do the garter stitch, which is the basic knitting, just straight up knitting, garter stitch only. I can purl, but I'm not very good at it because I'm way out of practice. I made a couple of scarves knit and purl way back in the day when I was originally knitting. But now most of my knitting is done on kind of cheap yarn. I use Red Heart and Red Heart Super Saver a lot. And we do most of my knitting right now and in the past couple of years has gone on my son's Etsy store for things he wanted to do for trips with his friends and different personalities that he's tried on. He did a cosplay phase. He's got probably 15 wigs up in his closet. He's gone through a gender fluid phase. Phase is probably not the right word. I don't mean to demean it or make it seem, but he's been trying to figure out his gender identity for a few years now. And initially he thought he was asexual, and then he did some exploring and some introspection, and he was leaning towards gender neutral with a combination of asexual, and then for a while he thought maybe pansexual. But for the last couple of years, he wants to do a transition. So when I say my son, I'm talking about my transgender son. This was my daughter, who is now my son. And I support whatever it is that he feels like is right for him internally. And so he wants to start after we move. He doesn't want to do it before we move because he doesn't want to change doctors. Hormone therapy, and he wants to change his whole wardrobe. So right now he's focused on making his wardrobe more masculine. I'm sure there's a word for that I just can't spit out. And so he's asked me for some scarves for Halloween and Christmas, and they are just basic. I'll show a couple of examples next time or the time after that. But he's asked me for some Halloween ones, so I'm going to do some lime green and some purple and some orange with black, some striped scarves, some fun for Halloween. We never make a lot of money that way on Etsy or eBay, but it's enough for him to do some of the things he wants to do outside of what he makes at his job. Some of it goes towards rent and bills, and some of it's just his. And so he's paying for his own phone and stuff like that because I have been sick and my income has gone way down. So we have kind of an agreement while I'm in this phase about how our finances work. But when he asked me, and I have the time, most definitely, specifically, would you please do these things for me for my Etsy shop or for eBay, because I want to do X, Y, or Z. And right now he wants to make a more masculine wardrobe. He's got something kind of in between, but he wants to buy some very specific items. He wants to, the vest kind of that goes with the suit, he wants a couple of those, and he wants some chinos that are for men, and then he also wants some cargo pants and cargo shorts, and then some button-down shirts that actually fit, and some chest binders and stuff like that for before he goes through the hormone. He feels most like himself when he is able to bind everything down, and when his clothes are more masculine cut, and so it just makes him happy that way. So if we can, because our budget's so tight, there just isn't very much money for totally revamping a wardrobe. So I said yes, I would knit these scarves, and I think he wants like 5 of each kind, and then he wanted some Christmas ones, How the Grinch Stole Christmas one, and a Santa kind of red and white scarf, and some other things like that, some green ones, and then a bright purple, I think, with a silver kind of trim on it. So he had some very specific things that he asked me for to try and pay for some of these things for him. And how do you say no to that? You're trying to figure out a way to work it in the budget for the things he wants. And I think that that's admirable. And then he's crocheting a couple of things. He's working on a Minecraft blanket that was a commission that fell through. So he thought he would finish it and see if maybe he could sell it to somebody for Christmas. And I think then he's got a big personal project that he's been working on since last year, but he put it aside over the summer because it was heavy and hot. He's knitting a basket weave, or not, is he knitting it, or I think he's crocheting it, a big basket weave blanket for himself in kind of ocean colors that he's really proud of, and that looks really great. So those are kind of the things he's hoping for. And then we have some baby blankets that we worked on over the summer that we're going to put up too. So he's very excited about the potential for revamping his wardrobe. And it's just fun to see somebody that excited about the changes in their life. It's very catching. You want to engage with it, or at least I do, because he's so enthusiastic about it. But so those are the things that are going to happen, and I'll talk more about my transgender son and his adventures in reading and otherwise, because I adore that he feels so comfortable in expressing himself, because I feel like that hasn't always been a possibility. And even with the political climate the way it is now, I think that he has more opportunities than he would have had he been born 10 or 20 years ago, and certainly more than if he had been, when I was growing up. So it's hard not to feel happy and enthusiastic for the acceptance he's gotten. We really haven't had any negative experiences, and so I'm very happy about that. So those are my changes that will be coming through. I'm sorry this video is at half an hour. It seems like all of my videos are that way. I just like to ramble on. But tomorrow I will be back with some book stuff and a little bit of knit talk, because I'm working on several different projects, and I knit 2 scarves for him that are done, and I just need to weave in the ends and put on a cute little border, and those are going to be his. He loves, it's kind of flamboyant, loves a good scarf or a wrap. Sometimes I'll walk into his room and he'll be wearing this, he's got this fox ear cowl that one of his friends gave him, and so I'll walk in sometimes and he'll have a scarf on plus this cowl and some glasses. I'm like, what are you doing? It's like, I just felt like it. So he's a very kind of theatrical sometimes in his presentation, and I kind of like that. It's just, sometimes you just walk in there and sometimes you're like, okay, but he looks good. I just, sometimes I think, I don't, just to be in the house by yourself, like playing a game, wearing a scarf and a cowl, and it just amuses me. So I will see you tomorrow, and happy whatever time of day it is for you. It's Wednesday here, so happy hump day. And whether you're working a traditional job or a retail job where your schedule is mocked up, I hope you're having a great week, a great day, and I hope you're working towards a fabulous weekend. I will see you next time. Bye.